I showed up early that Monday morning, still tired from the flight back from Phoenix and the 3 long days I just spent burying my old man. It wasn't easy, but I was ready to get back into the groove. Work had always been my anchor, and I figured diving in would help clear the fog. I logged into my email just like any other day. First message at the top, subject line in bold, termination notice, effective immediately. I froze. Thought it had to be some system error, rated again, then a third time. It was real, no warning, no meeting, just a cold block of text telling me I was done. 5 years. 5 goddamn years building the Western distribution team from scratch. Hundreds of overtime hours. Missed birthdays. Hell, I skipped my own honeymoon because of a warehouse fire in Reno. And they fired me by email while I was still grieving my father. The reason? Failure to meet expectations during a critical operational period. I just sat there, didn't say a word, didn't yell, didn't even blink. I looked over at the cactus on my desk, the one the team gave me last Christmas with a card that said, "Best damn boss in the building." Guess that didn't matter now. Quick note before we go further. Which city or country are you listening from right now? Drop it in the comments. I clicked open my calendar. The time off request was right there, approved the week before by Rachel Gordon, my manager. She even gave me a pat on the back and said, "Take all the time you need, family first." Apparently, that only applied when it didn't interfere with Q3 shipping volumes. No call from her, no heads up, just that email. I leaned back in my chair and stared up at the ceiling. My badge was still clipped to my belt. My team thought I'd be leading Monday's stand-up in 20 minutes. They had no idea. I reached for my phone, but didn't dial anyone. What was I gonna say? Hey, just letting you know I got canned for going to my dad's funeral. I took a screenshot of the email and forwarded it to my personal account. No way I was letting that disappear from the system. Then I opened the bottom drawer of my desk, pulled out an old box I'd saved from a supply order, and started clearing out my things one item at a time. This wasn't about performance. It wasn't even about logistics. It was about power, and they'd just handed me a reason to use mine. I placed the cactus into the box last. That little thing had survived every office move, every late-night order crisis, every quarterly shakeup. It was stupid, but it hit harder than I expected. I grabbed my phone, snapped a photo of the termination email, and shot it straight to my personal inbox. I wasn't leaving without a receipt. By 8 o'clock, the floor started filling up. First one in was Tony from accounting. He slowed when he saw the box on my desk and the look on my face. "What's going on?" he asked, glancing between me and the half-empty shelves. "I got canned." His eyebrows shot up. "You serious?" "Yeah." Email came through first thing. Tony just stood there, like someone short-circuited his brain. I didn't offer more. I didn't need to. A few minutes later, Jordan walked in with his usual giant coffee and a breakfast burrito in his other hand. The second he saw the box, he stopped mid-step. "What happened?" he asked. "They fired me." He blinked. "What? Why?" "Because I went to bury my dad." I said it flat. Cold. Like it was just another line item on the manifest. Jordan dropped the burrito on my desk and ran a hand through his hair. "No damn way. That's gotta be illegal or something." "It's Northgate," I said. "They don't care if it's legal. They care if it's clean." Jordan looked like he'd just witnessed a car crash in slow motion. And then people started gathering. Max showed up first, then Sarah. Pete, Teresa, Jose, and Liz followed. Every single one of them had been with me since the first warehouse launch in Bakersfield. These weren't just co-workers. They were my crew. I didn't say much, just stood there, taping up the box. The silence said it all. "You serious?" Sarah asked. "Dead serious," I said. Rachel approved my bereavement time. Then this morning, I get a termination email. Pete clenched his jaw. Jose just shook his head and muttered something in Spanish I didn't catch, but the tone made it clear. That's when Rachel walked in. She had that clipped walk, heels clicking like a metronome of authority. She glanced at the crowd around my desk and frowned. "Okay, folks, let's all get back to work, please." No one moved. She turned to me. "You could have packed a little more discreetly. We don't need a scene." I straightened up and looked her dead in the eye. "Like the way you fired me by email?" Her face tightened. I saw the twitch in her jaw. She didn't like that. "You took time during a crucial shipping period," she said, voice low but sharp. "My father died. You didn't communicate adequately with the leadership team during your absence." I was at a cemetery, Rachel. Sorry I didn't call in from the graveside. That one landed, her lips pressed into a thin line, and she turned without another word, heading straight into her glass office. The blinds snapped shut behind her. Jordan leaned in. That was the coldest thing I've ever seen. I lifted the box and nodded toward the elevator. Time to go. As I walked through the bullpen, people stared. Some gave nods. A few followed me all the way to the elevator, saying nothing. Just being there. I hit the button. The doors opened. No applause, no farewell speech, just quiet. But you could feel it, like a wire had snapped and the current was loose. I didn't say goodbye, didn't need to. The message was already spreading. The HR office smelled like dry printer paper and fake lavender. I walked in holding my box, still half full, and saw a girl I didn't recognize sitting behind the desk. She stood up too fast, like I'd caught her doing something wrong. Amanda, I asked, nodding toward the nameplate. Yeah, hi, I'm handling your exit documents. She motioned to a chair across the table. I sat. She stayed standing, flipping nervously through a manila folder before finally sitting down herself. She looked like she'd just graduated college last month. She slid the packet toward me. This outlines the standard separation terms: 2-week severance, a non-disparagement clause, and a 6-month non-compete applying to any regional logistics firms. I didn't even touch it. That what they're going with? It's standard, she said, eyes fixed on the folder, not me. I pulled out my phone, opened the screenshot of the termination email, and turned it around so she could read it. She leaned forward, blinked, then sat back slowly. This is how they told you? I nodded once. First thing this morning, before I even finished logging in. Amanda didn't say anything, just stood up and mumbled, let me consult with legal real quick. She disappeared down the hall, heels clicking out of sync like her legs weren't sure which way to walk. I stared out the window, watching trucks pull into the loading dock behind the building. My trucks, my system, my team, still moving, still working. 10 minutes later, she came back with a paper in her hand and a new layer of detachment on her face. I spoke with legal, she said, sitting down. They confirmed that all terms are in line with Idaho's at-will employment laws. The company is not obligated to provide additional reasoning or notice. I gave a humorless laugh. You rehearsed that in the hallway? Amanda flinched, just slightly, then handed me a pen. If you'd like to review and sign, we can finalize the process. I took the pen, but I didn't sign. I flipped through the packet instead, page by page. They really thought this was airtight. Polished HR speak to cover a coward's move. Bury a guy's father, and then bury his job in the same week. I paused on the non-compete clause. 6 months. Regional competitors. They'd stretch the wording just enough to make it vague, meant to scare me, not stop me. I tossed the pen back on the table. I'll take the 2 weeks' pay, but I'm not signing anything else. Amanda looked up. The non-disparagement clause is part of the severance. Then keep your check. She went still. I stood up, grabbed my box, and looked her dead in the eye. Tell Rachel and Sam they should have handled this like adults. She didn't respond. I walked out. The second I hit the parking lot, my phone buzzed. Jordan. What the hell just happened? Me? They did it by email. HR didn't even know how to face me. Jordan? That's messed up. People are furious. I dropped the box in the back seat and sat behind the wheel. Another text came in. Teresa, then Max. Teresa. Saw Rachel storm into her office? What happened? Me. They fired me for going to my dad's funeral. Teresa. That's disgusting. Max. You good? Let's meet. I didn't answer right away. Just sat there watching my reflection in the rearview mirror. Same face, same hands, same guy who'd carried this company's logistics backbone for 5 straight years. But something had shifted. I didn't have a plan, not yet. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to let this fade quietly. My phone rang just after 8 that night. I didn't recognize the number, but I picked up anyway. Yeah? Jason, it's Mike Rollins. That name hit different. VP of Cedar Point Freight, Northgate's biggest headache. We'd talked 6 months earlier when he tried to lure me over, but I stayed loyal, said I wasn't looking to jump. Mike, hell of a surprise. I heard what happened, words moving fast. Not surprised. I don't want to waste your time. Can you meet tomorrow? Name it. 10 a.m., Cedar Point HQ. You bring that email with you? I already printed it. I showed up the next morning, no suit, no tie. Just a clean shirt and the truth. Mike met me in the lobby, grinning like he already knew how this would end. We walked straight to his office. No HR, no games. He didn't waste a second. You built the Western Division at Northgate from dirt. I've been watching your numbers for 2 years. I handed him the printout. His grin disappeared. He read it, then set it on the desk. This is how they cut you loose? First thing Monday. Didn't even get through one sip of coffee. He leaned back, folded his arms. That's what I call a gift-wrapped opportunity. I didn't respond, just waited. I want you to run Western Ops here. Senior role, full autonomy, better team, better pay. You make the calls. He slid a folder across the desk. Offer letter's already drafted. We're not screwing around. I opened it. Salary blew Northgate out of the water. Bonus structure was even better. There's a hitch, I said. 6-month non-compete. Mike nodded. We saw that. Our legal team already reviewed it. It's likely unenforceable. They terminated you during bereavement. That's bad faith. Doesn't hold up well, even in Idaho. And if they try, we've beaten worse. You'd have our attorneys on it from day one. I closed the folder. Let me talk to a lawyer, and I'll call you tomorrow. Fair, but Jason, he paused, we want you, and people want to follow you. That matters. That night, I met Jordan and Teresa at a dive bar near the old train yard. No music, no noise, just cheap beer and open space. Jordan slapped the table when he saw me. Man, Rachel is unraveling. Talk, I said. They locked down your entire drive, Teresa said. No one can access your files. They didn't plan ahead. You didn't leave notes. Because I didn't plan on being fired, I said. Exactly, Jordan said. Now they're scrambling, routing issues in Salt Lake. Tucson Depot's short-staffed. Rachel tried pinning it on Max today. She said he should have known your plans, Teresa added. He nearly quit on the spot. I sipped my beer. What about the rest of the crew? They're pissed, Jordan said. Half the team's already talking about walking. She held an all hands and tried to reassure everyone, Teresa said, using air quotes. It made things worse. Jordan leaned in. People miss you. Not just because you ran things, because you gave a damn. I looked at them. My people. Still standing with me after everything. I've got an offer, I said. Cedar Point. Senior role. Full freedom. Jordan's eyes lit up. Tell me you're taking it. I'm talking to a lawyer tomorrow. If it's clean, I'm in. Teresa leaned back. If you go, I go. Jordan nodded. Same here. I didn't smile, not yet, but I felt it. That steady shift in momentum, like a current changing direction. Rachel and Northgate thought they'd just cut me loose, but they didn't cut me off. They handed me leverage, and now the clock was ticking. For them. Saturday morning, I walked into a quiet office above a hardware store in downtown Boise. The door just said, David Martinez, labor attorney. No receptionist, no flashy branding. Just a guy in a crisp shirt with a sharp look in his eyes and a cup of gas station coffee on his desk. You Jason? He asked, standing up. Yeah, you got time? He motioned to the chair across from him. Always got time when a company shoots itself in the foot. I handed him the folder with everything. My termination notice, the email screenshot, the non-compete clause, even my approved time-off request. He went through it fast, flipping pages without hesitation. Then he leaned back, shook his head, and let out a dry laugh. They screwed up. Talk to me, I said. Firing someone during approved bereavement leave? Courts don't like that. They'll say Idaho's at will, sure, but optics matter, especially if this ever goes federal. I'm not looking to sue, I said. I just need to know if that non-compete holds. He tapped the clause. It's crap. 6 months against regional competitors with no definition. Overbroad, unenforceable. Add in the timing, they've got no leg to stand on. So I can take the job? You'd be doing them a favor by not suing first. I stood up and shook his hand. Appreciate it. Take the job, Jason, and if they try anything, you call me. I left his office feeling like I'd just walked out of a cage. By that afternoon, my phone was buzzing again. First was Jose, then Sarah, then Liz. Each one said the same thing. We need to talk. Sunday morning, we met at a greasy spoon off the freeway. Booth in the back. No suits, no corporate lingo. Just hash browns, black coffee, and loyalty. I laid it all out. The Cedar Point offer, the meeting with the attorney, everything. I'm taking it, I said, and I asked for the right to build my own team. Max leaned forward. You serious? Dead serious? Mike wants a full reboot on their Western ops. I'm not walking into another mess. I'm doing it my way. Teresa didn't blink. We've already applied. That made me pause. Wait, what? Sarah nodded. All of us. We talked after you left. Jordan sent the job links. We didn't hesitate. You're not worried about burning bridges? I asked. Jose snorted. They torched the bridge when they fired you like that. Max tapped the table. We followed you into Northgate when it was nothing. We built that whole operation together. Rachel didn't do squat. If you're building something new, we're in. I sat back for a second. Let it sink in. These weren't empty words. These people had families, mortgages, kids in school, and they were ready to jump, just like that. You sure you're ready to walk? I asked. Liz looked me dead in the eye. We already did. That silence hit different, heavy, real. All right, I said. Let's do this the right way. Quiet, clean, give them no warning. Pete cracked a smile. So, what's the plan? I leaned in. You wait for the offer calls. When they come, take them. Once we're set, we walk in together. 6 nods, no hesitation. Northgate didn't know it yet, but the fuse was already lit. Monday morning, I called Mike first thing. I'm in, I said, but I want to build my own team. You've got green light, he said without missing a beat. Send me names. By noon, the paperwork was signed. Cedar Point had already set up my laptop, email, onboarding packet, everything. No HR fog, no corporate delay. Just straight execution. Felt like breathing real air again. By Tuesday, I was already in strategy meetings. I kept quiet about my crew, but I slipped their resumes to recruiting. Fast-tracked, top priority. No job board noise. No public listings. Friday morning, I got a call from recruitment. All 7 have been interviewed, she said. All solid, all interested. Good, I said. Get the offers out. Then I waited. By 11 a.m., it hit. 7 resignation emails dropped at Northgate within 15 minutes. Rachel called the first emergency meeting by 11:30. I heard it all secondhand, the yelling, the panic, the scrambling. Sam Garrison got looped in. His calendar cleared within an hour. By 2 o'clock, my phone lit up. Unknown number, I answered. Jason, it's Paula Stevens, HR at Northgate. I didn't say anything. Let her fill the silence. We'd like to talk about potential resolution options. You mean damage control? I don't think we realized how integral you were to... Stop. She hesitated. We'd like to offer your position back, with a raise, significant raise. I leaned back in my chair, staring out the window. You should have thought about that before firing me for going to my dad's funeral. There was a pause. Then, we'll match whatever Cedar Point's offering, maybe even beat it. I let that hang. Then I said, it's not about money anymore. Another pause, longer this time. Then she said, if you change your mind, I won't. I ended the call. By that evening, everyone had accepted Cedar Point's offers. Jordan, Teresa, Max, Liz, Pete, Jose, and Sarah. 7 resignations, 7 hires. I didn't send a press release, didn't post a thing on LinkedIn, no need to pound my chest. But the message was loud. Rachel lost her lieutenants. Sam lost his bench. The Western Division wasn't just bleeding, it was gutted. On Saturday, I got a text from an unknown number. I don't know what you told them, but they all walked. We're F-dead. Sam. I didn't reply. I forwarded it to Mike instead. He wrote back, this is how we win. 3 months in, and the numbers spoke louder than I ever could. Cedar Point's Western Division was up 30% in new business. We weren't just catching up. We were blowing past projections. The team settled in fast. Jordan took Phoenix, Teresa handled Reno, Sarah stepped up in Salt Lake, Pete was running ops out of Spokane, and Max had LA on lockdown. Every single one of them leading their own units now. Titles, bonuses, visibility, the kind of recognition they never got under Rachel's thumb. And the best part? 3 of Northgate's top accounts followed us without even needing a sales pitch. They called us. Word had gotten out. We were faster, cleaner, and didn't treat people like tools. Mid-September, I was called into Mike's office. "You're not just running Western Ops anymore," he said, sliding a new contract across the table. "You're VP of Operations for the whole corridor." I looked at the offer. Bigger budget, full control, no micromanaging. "You earned it," he added. "Hell, you dragged an entire region out of the mud." I signed it without blinking. The next week, I got a letter in a thick envelope. No return address, just a law firm name I recognized from Northgate. Inside was a settlement offer. They admitted fault, in writing. Said the termination violated internal protocol and should have been handled differently. Offered me a 5-figure check. I didn't need the money. I sent back a signed copy acknowledging receipt. No counters, no negotiation, just kept it for the record. A few days later, I got a small box in the mail. No note, just my name written in Sharpie across the top. I opened it, and there it was. The little cactus from my old desk. Wrapped in paper towels, dirt still stuck to the base. Taped to the side was a sticky note. "Office closed this week. Thought you'd want this. Megan, HR." I stood there for a second, holding that dumb little plant in one hand, thinking about how fast it all flipped. 5 years of building something just to be tossed by email. And now, the place was dead. Northgate shut down its entire Western Division. Cedar Point filled the vacuum. My team, thriving. Sometimes winning doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like silence from the people who tried to bury you. I set the cactus on my new desk, turned to the window, and got back to work. 6 months later, I met Sam Garrison for lunch at a steakhouse downtown. He picked the place, same one we used to meet clients at when Northgate still had teeth. He looked smaller now, slouched shoulders, shirt too loose. "So," he said, stirring his iced tea, "I'm consulting." I nodded. "You and half the market." He gave a half smile. "You heard, I'm sure. Northgate's done. Bought out, gutted, absorbed. Rachel's gone." "Yeah," I said. "Figured when the calls stopped coming." He paused, leaned in a little. "You know what still shocks me? It wasn't some lawsuit or scandal. It was people. They followed you." I didn't say anything. Let that settle. He sat back, sighed. "We should have seen it coming." "You should have respected people," I said. Wasn't about revenge, wasn't personal. It was about how you treat your team. He looked down at his plate, then nodded. "Fair enough." I didn't gloat. No point. My team and I were building something better. We weren't playing defense. We were setting the pace now. We showed up, handled business, treated people like they mattered. Simple, but no one else seemed to get it. The industry noticed. We landed 3 service awards in 1 quarter. Clients started sending referrals without being asked. Jordan texted me last week. "Got a bonus I didn't even know was coming. First time that's ever happened." Teresa got invited to speak at a national ops conference. Sarah hired her own team for the Salt Lake branch. It all felt right. Like balance had finally caught up. As we left the restaurant, Sam stuck out his hand. "No hard feelings." I shook it. "None from me." He looked like he wanted to say more but didn't, just gave me a tight smile and walked off toward the parking lot. I stood there a minute, looking out over the Snake River. The wind was light, water moving steady. My old man used to say, "Don't chase the water, son. Let the river come to you." Took me years to understand what he meant. You don't have to swing wild or scream for attention. Just do the work, stay steady. Let time sort the rest. In the end, I didn't have to burn the place down. They did it to themselves. All I had to do was stand still and let it fall.